The coin in question? A 2014 Lincoln penny. But not just any 2014 penny. This one carries a tiny, chilling mistake. 3 letters that should never exist together.
RIT D.
A mint mark that defies everything we know about the US Mint. Collectors couldn't believe it when the first one surfaced. How could a simple penny, barely a decade old, carry an error so mysterious, so rare, that it left even experts scratching their heads? Some said it was impossible. Others whispered about an experimental strike, a slip of a machine that should have been destroyed, yet somehow survived. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One of these 2014 RIT D pennies was pulled from circulation by accident. A man thought he was just emptying his pockets after work. Inside his handful of change, he noticed something off. The mint mark looked strange, wrong. He nearly ignored it, nearly tossed it aside. But something told him to look closer. That small decision changed his life forever. Because that penny, what most people would have spent without a second thought, was later authenticated and valued at nearly $1.8 million. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on any 2014 penny they could find, scanning through rolls from the bank, searching through old jars, hoping lightning would strike twice. For years, whispers have circulated that more of these coins might be out there, sitting quietly in dresser drawers, coffee cans, forgotten piggy banks. But this tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the date, 2014. Then look at the mint mark. Normally, you'd expect a plain D or maybe an S. But on this coin, the mark looks like it's doubled, warped, almost reading as RIT D. It's a striking error, a ghostly inscription etched into history by mistake. And it's this microscopic flaw that transforms an ordinary penny into $1 million miracle. Imagine the feeling. Your heart pounding as you realize what you're holding. A coin that costs 1 cent to spend, suddenly worth more than most people's homes. That's the dream every collector lives for. And the stories keep building. Rumors of other examples locked away in private vaults. Auction houses preparing for record-shattering sales. And ordinary people, regular folks like you, checking their pocket change every night, hoping for that life-changing discovery. First, don't assume every 2014 penny is valuable. 99% are worth exactly 1 cent. The rare ones reveal themselves in the mint mark. Use a magnifying glass. Study the D carefully. If it looks stretched, if the letters RIT seem faintly pressed into the surface, you may have found something extraordinary. Be wary of fakes. Some people try to scratch or alter coins to mimic the error, but real experts can spot the difference instantly. The true RIT D mint mark has a specific flow, a natural misalignment that no human hand can fake. Dealers know it. Collectors know it. And now, you know it 2.0. The next time you empty your pockets, don't just see pennies. See possibilities. Because one of those coins, maybe sitting in your desk, maybe hiding in your change jar, could be the exact 2014 RIT D penny that changes everything. And if you're lucky enough to spot it, you'll be holding not just copper and zinc, but a story worth telling forever. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. The year is 1984. Millions of ordinary pennies are being struck at the US Mint. Nothing special, nothing unusual, or so everyone thought. But hidden among the endless flood of copper-plated coins, a single mistake slipped through. A silent error that would go unnoticed for decades. One collector in the Midwest once said, "I almost spent it on a cup of coffee." That ordinary penny, missing one tiny but critical detail, would later be called $1 million miracle. Because this isn't just any Lincoln cent. This is the 1984 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, and to the untrained eye, it looks like nothing. Just another coin you'd toss in a change jar. But for those who know the truth, it could mean the difference between pocket change and a life-changing fortune. In the early 2000s, whispers began spreading at coin shows. Dealers were pulling out their magnifying glasses, studying 1984 pennies more closely than ever before. Why? Because a tiny fraction of them were missing the mint mark, that small letter that tells you where it was made. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Nothing at all. Just a blank space where history says there should have been a mark. Collectors were shocked. Some said it was impossible, a rumor, a myth. But then one surfaced at auction. And when the hammer fell, jaws dropped across the room. The price didn't stop at thousands. It climbed and climbed and climbed until it nearly brushed the sky. Almost $2 million for a coin most people would have spent without a second thought. And here's the part most people miss. It's not just the missing mint mark that makes it rare. It's the condition. Most pennies from 1984 are worn, scratched, beaten up by decades of circulation. But the few pristine survivors, those untouched by time, are the true treasures. That's why one man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Why did this happen? Some experts believe the die, the steel stamp that imprints every penny, was accidentally prepared without a mint mark. Others think a small batch slipped out during a frantic production rush, unnoticed by the mint. Whatever the reason, it created one of the rarest modern errors in U.S. coinage. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Collectors scour their change jars late at night, hoping. Imagine it. You open your drawer, sift through a handful of pennies, and there it is. A tiny detail most people overlook. Missing, gone, forgotten. And just like that, you could be holding a fortune. One East Coast collector once told of how his grandfather left him a box of old coins. Inside were hundreds of pennies from the 1970s and 80s. Most were worth face value. But tucked in the corner was the fabled 1984 penny with no mint mark. For years, he thought nothing of it. Then one day, at a local show, he asked a dealer to take a closer look. The dealer's hands began to shake. Within months, that coin sold for over $1 million. A family heirloom turned into a financial miracle. So how do you know if you've got the right coin? First, the year must be 1984. Flip it over. Look carefully at the obverse, the front side with Abraham Lincoln's portrait. Now focus beneath the date. Normally, you'd see a small mint mark, a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But on this ultra-rare variety, there's nothing. Just a clean, open space under the date. But beware, not every 1984 penny without a mint mark is valuable. Here's the trap most beginners fall into. The Philadelphia Mint traditionally struck pennies without a mint mark. That's normal. The difference here is that this coin was not supposed to be missing its mark, and authentic examples are incredibly scarce. The secret lies in its die characteristics and its flawless condition, which is why professional grading is essential. Collectors were shocked when one coin graded at the highest level shattered records. Dealers whispered, "This will never happen again." Yet each time one of these elusive 1984 no-mint mark pennies surfaces, the bidding war begins anew. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, don't just toss those pennies aside. Examine them. Hold them to the light. Ask yourself, could this be the one? Could this humble coin in your hand be the same type that transformed an ordinary collector into a millionaire overnight? This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost slipped through the cracks of history. A coin most people would spend without a second thought. Yet one shocking mistake turned it into $1 million treasure. It's the 1993 Lincoln cent. And at first glance, it looks just like the billions of others minted that year. But there's one detail, so small, so easy to overlook, that has transformed ordinary pocket change into life-changing wealth. Collectors call it the no-mint mark mystery. Imagine a coin that should have carried its tiny letter, the proud mark of where it was struck, suddenly missing. No trace of a D for Denver. No sign of an S for San Francisco. Just silence. An empty field where history should have left its stamp. But why? Why would a coin from 1993, a year when minting technology was precise and reliable, slip into circulation with no mint mark at all? The truth is almost stranger than fiction. A tiny error, a forgotten detail in the great machinery of the U.S. Mint, slipped by unnoticed. And out of billions of ordinary pennies, only a handful carried the secret. At first, no one paid attention. These coins jingled in change jars, slid across gas station counters, and sat in dusty drawers for years. But then one surfaced at auction. A single 1993 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. A coin so ordinary it could have been in your lunch money, crossed the block. The bidding started small, whispers in the room. But then it grew, and grew, until the final hammer came down. Price realized nearly $1.8 million. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were stunned. Suddenly, a coin nobody even knew existed became one of the most valuable pennies in history. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Another woman found one tucked in an old coin jar and refused to sell it, convinced the value would only rise. And every year since, the legend of the 1993 no-mint mark penny grows bigger, louder, more unbelievable. So why is it worth so much? The answer lies in rarity, demand, and the emotional pull of discovery. Mint errors happen, but not like this. A missing mint mark on a modern coin is almost impossible. Combine that with the story, the drama, and the proof of a genuine U.S. Mint oversight, and suddenly you've got a holy grail hiding in plain sight. But here's what most people miss. This coin is not damaged. It's not rubbed off. It's not worn down. The space where the mint mark should be is clean, perfectly smooth, as if it was never there at all. That's the telltale sign. If you see any trace of a D or an S, it's just an ordinary penny. But if that spot is bare, untouched, you might be holding the impossible. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Collectors whisper about it in forums, swapping rumors of new finds. Every estate sale, every coin shop, every dusty cigar box is now a potential treasure chest. Imagine the scene. You're rolling pennies to take to the bank, when suddenly you notice it. A 1993 date, Abraham Lincoln staring back. And then your heart skips. No mint mark. Could it be? You rush to your loupe, your magnifier, your flashlight, and the truth hits you. This isn't just change. This is destiny. And yet, most people will never check. Most people will spend this coin on coffee or let it sit in a jar forever. That's the tragedy and the opportunity. Collectors say it best. The thrill isn't just in owning $1 million coin. It's in the chase, the hunt, the idea that the most valuable penny of your life might already be in your possession. Hidden in plain sight. So here's how to know. Look for a 1993 Lincoln penny. Study the date carefully. Now move your eyes just under the year. That's where the mint mark should be. If it's blank, perfectly blank, no D, no S, you may be staring at a once-in-a-lifetime error. Don't be fooled by scratches or worn marks. This coin isn't damaged. It was born without its mint mark. That's what makes it priceless. Because somewhere out there, right now, another collector is hunting for it. Another dealer is waiting to pay for it. And another ordinary person is about to discover that their pocket change is worth more than their house. The story of the 1993 no-mint mark penny is still unfolding. Each new discovery shakes the market. Each auction sends prices higher. And every day that passes, the legend grows. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. And here's the twist. It's not a gold coin, not a silver coin, not even an old 1800s relic. It's a plain brown Lincoln cent from 1994. A coin that could still be hiding in pocket change today. But why? Why would a penny from the 1990s, a coin millions of us spent without a second thought, be worth the price of a mansion? The answer lies in one of the rarest minting mysteries of modern U.S. coinage. In 1994, billions of Lincoln pennies were struck across the country. Most bore the tiny letter D for Denver, or P for Philadelphia, but a handful slipped through the presses with nothing. No mint mark at all. No clue to their birthplace. A ghostly omission that turned a penny into $1 million prize. Collectors were stunned when the first example surfaced. Was it a fluke? Or a mistake the U.S. Mint never wanted anyone to notice? But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One of these plain, forgotten 1994 cents crossed the auction block and sold for a staggering $1.9 million. Yes, a single copper-colored penny, worth more than a Lamborghini. And here's the chilling part. Most people who held this coin never even realized it. For decades, it passed from cash registers to coffee shops, from laundromats to piggy banks, completely unnoticed. But one collector finally looked closely. He saw what nobody else did. That tiny missing mint mark. That was the moment his pocket change became $1 million miracle. Dealers rushed to confirm it. Experts gasped. Could this be real? And sure enough, under magnification, the truth was undeniable. This was not damage, not tampering. This was a genuine 1994 Lincoln cent struck with no mint mark. And just like that, one of the greatest modern U.S. coin treasures was born. But this is where the story gets even stranger. Some experts believe the coin may have been struck by accident when an old die was mistakenly placed into the press. Others whisper that an insider at the mint allowed it to escape on purpose. We may never know. What we do know is this: the coin is out there. More than one may exist. And every day, collectors scan their change, hoping to be the next person to uncover this life-changing mistake. Because this is not a coin you'll find locked in a museum. It's a coin that looks so ordinary, so common, that it hides in plain sight. But what makes it worth millions isn't just the missing mint mark. It's the combination of rarity, mystery, and demand. When something this unusual appears, collectors will stop at nothing to own it. And that's why, when the hammer dropped at auction and the final bid echoed through the room, jaws dropped. $1.9 million for a penny. Think about that. 1 cent turned into a fortune. One moment of luck turned into a legend. But here's what you need to know if you're searching. The 1994 Lincoln cent looks like every other copper-plated penny from the 90s. Lincoln's profile on the front. The Lincoln Memorial on the back. But look just beneath the date to the right of Lincoln's portrait. Normally, you'd see a small letter, D for Denver, or P for Philadelphia, on the rarest version. That spot is blank, completely smooth, no letter at all. That is the key. That tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. But be careful. Some pennies appear to have no mint mark because of wear, damage, or polishing. That's not the same thing. A true 1994 no mint mark cent will look sharp and genuine. Not worn away. If you think you found one, don't spend it. Don't clean it. Don't toss it into a coin jar. Place it in a protective sleeve and get it authenticated by a top grading service. That single step could be the difference between 1 cent and $1 million. And remember, these coins are so rare that most collectors will go their whole lives without ever holding one. But someone has to find the next one. Someone has to be the next story. It could be a lifelong collector, could be a casual hobbyist, or it could be you, checking the change in your drawer right now. This isn't just about money. It's about history. It's about mystery. It's about the dream that a forgotten penny could unlock a life-changing treasure. So the next time you see a 1994 penny, don't dismiss it. Don't assume it's worthless. Look closer. Look beneath the date. Because somewhere out there, one of these rare no-mint mark Lincoln cents is still waiting to be discovered. And when it is, it could be worth over $1 million. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary 2001 Lincoln penny. Dull copper tone, scratched from circulation, nothing special. The kind of coin you'd dismiss as pocket change. But collectors know appearances can deceive. Because hiding inside that penny is a minting mistake so rare, it transformed a single cent into a life-changing fortune. The story begins in the early 2000s, when the U.S. Mint was striking billions of pennies. Most carried their familiar mint marks, D for Denver, P for Philadelphia. But somewhere, deep in the chaotic process, a microscopic oversight occurred. A batch of coins slipped through with no mint mark at all. Ordinary to the untrained eye, catastrophic to the mint, priceless to collectors. For years, these coins vanished quietly into circulation. People spent them at gas stations, tucked them into change jars, or ignored them altogether. Until one day, a man sorting through his loose change noticed something strange. His 2001 Lincoln cent looked wrong. No tiny letter beneath the date. No mint mark. Just a blank space where history should have been. Curious, he brought it to a local dealer. Within minutes, the dealer's face turned pale. He had seen thousands of coins in his career, but never this. The whispers spread fast. Word of the 2001 no mint mark penny began rippling through the numismatic world. And then came the moment that stunned everyone. The first confirmed example hit the auction block. Collectors gasped as the bids skyrocketed. What started as a penny soared past hundreds, then thousands, then into the realm no one expected. By the time the gavel struck, it had sold for more than $1 million. Stories of these elusive 2001 errors began popping up across the country. People rushed to check their jars of change, their rolls of pennies from the bank, their childhood coin collections hidden in closets. Dealers reported frantic calls. Treasure hunters lined up at coin shows with hopeful faces. Because this wasn't just a coin anymore. It was a lottery ticket in copper. And yet a very few surfaced. Most experts believe only a tiny handful exist, their origins lost to the mint's hidden errors. Which means every time you see a 2001 penny, the possibility is alive. A slim chance that you're holding a fortune in your palm. Collectors were shocked again when another specimen appeared years later. This time, it brought in nearly $1.9 million. The numismatic community was speechless. A coin once dismissed as pocket change had just changed someone's life forever. But here's the detail most people miss. This coin doesn't just lack a mint mark. It must be perfectly dated 2001, with Lincoln's familiar profile, and that haunting blank space where the P or D should be. No scratches where the mark was rubbed away. No damage from circulation. Just a true, unmarked strike. A ghost coin that should not exist. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. And now, collectors everywhere are racing to inspect every 2001 penny they can find. Imagine the feeling. Flipping a coin under the light, heart pounding, and realizing you're holding the key to a fortune. So here's what to look for. The date 2001 on the obverse side, Lincoln's portrait crisp and untouched, and directly below it, nothing. No D, no P, no mint mark at all. That's the sign. That's the treasure. That's the difference between a penny and nearly $2 million. Be careful of fakes. Though, some will try to scratch away the mint mark, but trained eyes know the truth. Only genuine errors, struck by the mint itself, carry the power to command such staggering prices. And as you hear this, coins are still out there. Sitting in drawers, rattling in piggy banks, hiding at the bottom of change cups in cars across America, waiting to be discovered. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost slipped through the cracks of history. A single cent that could have been tossed into a jar, forgotten in a glove box, or lost between couch cushions. Yet today, it's known as one of the most shocking discoveries in modern coin collecting. A 1979 Lincoln penny with a mysterious Rit D mint mark, worth up to $1.9 million. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Copper red, scratched by time, just another coin from a year when pennies were struck by the billions. But collectors were stunned when whispers began to spread that a tiny detail on some of these 1979 cents carried a secret that could rewrite numismatic history. One man nearly spent his at a convenience store. Imagine sliding your change across the counter. A pack of gum, a penny handed over, not knowing that the coin in your palm was worth more than a house. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Dealers began rushing to examine every 1979 penny they could find. First, they didn't believe it. How could such a bizarre mint mark even exist? But the evidence was undeniable. Where the Denver mint mark should have been a simple D, collectors discovered a faint, almost ghostly imprint, Rit D, a strike so rare, so unusual that even veteran experts were left speechless. This wasn't just a double die or a common off-center strike. It was something entirely different, a minting anomaly so strange it shouldn't even exist. And because so few examples have ever surfaced, the value skyrocketed. Auction houses reported bidding wars that left jaws on the floor. One coin changed hands for nearly $2 million. But here's the detail that most people miss, and it's why so many 1979 pennies slip by unnoticed. To the naked eye, the Rit D mint mark looks like a faint scratch, a blur above the date. Many collectors assumed it was just damage, just wear from circulation. But under magnification, the truth becomes crystal clear. The letters are unmistakable. Stories began circulating of people pulling them from pocket change. One woman claimed she found hers in a cash register tray. Another collector swore he spotted one at a flea market in a 5-cent grab bin. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. But here's where the suspense deepens. Not all so-called Rit D pennies are genuine. Counterfeits have popped up, designed to trick hopeful treasure hunters. Dealers warn, don't be fooled by shallow scratches or poorly altered mint marks. The real coin shows crisp, mysterious lettering, raised in the metal itself, as if it were struck that way from the start. Collectors were shocked when graders confirmed authenticity. Experts admitted they had never seen anything quite like it. Some even called it the phantom mint mark, a ghost born from an error we may never fully understand. And every time one surfaces, the price climbs higher. Bidders are desperate, searching for the chance to hold one in their hands, because they know discoveries like this come once in a lifetime. This tiny copper coin, forgotten by most, has turned ordinary people into legends in the collecting world. Dealers whisper about it at shows. Collectors scan their change late into the night. And the dream continues to spread, because who knows where the next one will appear. Imagine digging through an old coffee can of coins in the attic. Imagine sorting rolls of pennies from the bank, not knowing that one coin in the pile could change your entire future. Imagine flipping over a cent, seeing that faint Rit D, and realizing your life will never be the same. So here's what you need to know. If you want to spot this $1 million rarity, look at every 1979 Lincoln cent carefully. Check just above the date for the mint mark. A normal coin will show a clean D, but the treasure you're hunting reveals more. An odd, ghost-like inscription that reads Rit D. Use a magnifying glass. Tilt it under light. If the letters rise naturally from the metal, you may be holding the real thing. And tonight, that legend could be sitting in your desk drawer, waiting to be discovered. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. The answer begins with a mistake. A tiny, almost invisible error at the Denver Mint. In 1968, thousands of Lincoln pennies were struck with a mint mark that was never supposed to exist. But this wasn't just any mistake. It was a mint mark punched into the wrong place with the wrong technique, creating one of the rarest error coins in American history. For years, nobody noticed. These coins slipped quietly into circulation, riding along in pockets, hiding in cash registers, and vanishing into piggy banks. Most people never gave them a second glance. But then, one surfaced. A collector in the late 1990s stumbled across a 1968 penny that looked different. At first, he thought it was just worn, maybe damaged. But under magnification, the truth jumped out like a lightning bolt. The mint mark, that tiny letter D for Denver, was doubled. It was tilted. It was in the wrong position. The bidding started modestly, with cautious hands raised in the room. But as the numbers climbed higher, something unbelievable happened. Two collectors locked eyes across the floor, each refusing to give in. And the price soared. Past $100, 000, past $500, 000, until finally, the hammer came down at nearly $1.7 million. But here's the secret most people still don't know. This coin isn't alone. A handful of these rare 1968 Rit D mint mark pennies are still out there, forgotten in coin rolls, sleeping inside old collections, waiting for someone with sharp enough eyes to recognize the treasure staring back at them. And that's where the story takes another twist. Because identifying this coin isn't about looking at the date. Thousands of 1968 pennies look completely normal. It's about spotting the mint mark, that mysterious D. On the rare version, the mint mark is doubled, almost like it's been punched twice. Some examples show the D shifted or slanted, sitting awkwardly compared to the numbers around it. That's the telltale sign. But here's the trap that fools most people. Damaged coins, worn surfaces, or scratches can make it look like a doubled mint mark. Many beginners rush to believe they've struck gold, only to discover their penny is worth just 1 cent. Imagine pulling one of these from a roll of pennies at the bank. Imagine finding one sitting in a coffee can in your grandfather's garage. One moment, you're holding what looks like pocket change, and the next, you're holding history. A piece of metal no bigger than your thumbnail, worth more than most houses. But the most incredible part? These coins could still be hiding anywhere. They've been lost in circulation for decades. They're out there, waiting for someone patient enough, curious enough, lucky enough to discover them. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, when you spill out that change jar you haven't touched in years, don't just see pennies. See possibilities. Look for 1968. Look for the Denver D. Tilt the coin, catch the light, and search for that doubled mint mark. Because in that moment, you might feel your pulse quicken. You might realize you're holding something that almost no one else on earth possesses. And if you do, your life could change forever. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Plain, ordinary Lincoln cent. A coin so common that billions were made. You've held it in your hands 1,000 times, never thinking twice. But one version of the 2017 penny, a coin with a strange, almost secret Rit D mint mark, has stunned the entire coin collecting world. Collectors whisper about it like a legend, a freak accident at the Denver Mint in 2017. A handful of Lincoln cents struck with a mint mark that doesn't exist on any official record. The letters appear distorted, almost ghost-like. Some call it Rit D. Others believe it's a die clash, a bizarre engraving error that slipped through unnoticed. But what happened next stunned even veteran dealers. One of these pennies surfaced at auction. A coin so small, so unassuming, it could have passed through a vending machine unnoticed. Yet when the gavel fell, the price soared past $1 million. But here's the twist. Most people miss the crucial detail. They see a 2017 penny with a D mint mark and assume it's ordinary. They spend it. They toss it into a drawer. They let it vanish into circulation. What they don't realize is that this tiny, misshapen mark, looking almost like the word Rit etched into the metal, is the key to a life-changing discovery. One man in Colorado thought nothing of the coin he found in his spare change. He almost gave it away. But curiosity led him to a local dealer, and that simple act changed his life forever. The dealer stared at the coin, then called in experts. And when the truth was confirmed, the man's everyday penny had transformed into a miracle worth over $1 million. Imagine holding a coin so rare that even the Smithsonian would want it. Imagine knowing that it passed through countless hands before landing in yours. That's what makes this story more than just money. It's history, mystery, and destiny all colliding in one copper coin. The answer lies in error and rarity. Mint mistakes are the holy grail of coin collecting. A double strike, a misplaced mint mark, a die clash that leaves ghostly letters across Lincoln's face. These are accidents the mint tries to bury. But when just a handful escape, their value skyrockets. And the Rit D penny is one of the strangest errors ever documented. Some experts believe only a few dozen exist. Others think fewer than 10. That uncertainty fuels the fire because every time a new example surfaces, the price climbs higher. The last one reportedly shocked collectors by fetching over $1.6 million at a private sale. But here's where you need to pay attention. If you have a 2017 penny with a Denver D mint mark, look closely. Hold it under a light. Study the mint mark carefully. If the D looks misshapen, elongated, or seems to carry faint extra letters, like the ghost of the word Rit pressed into the surface, you may be staring at a life-changing fortune. Collectors warn, don't clean it, don't polish it, don't scratch it. One careless move could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Instead, handle it gently by the edges and get it professionally graded. Every year, people throw away fortunes without knowing it. They spend pennies at the gas station, not realizing one of them could buy a house. They roll them into banks, never imagining a single coin could pay off every debt they have. This is the thrill of coin collecting, the knowledge that history, luck, and wealth can hide in the smallest corners of your everyday life. That the next time you reach for spare change, you might be touching something priceless. And tonight, somewhere in America, someone is holding a 2017 penny with a Rit D mint mark, not knowing they're holding $1 million miracle, so check your coins. Look closely. Pay attention to the tiniest details, because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. In 1988, a penny rolled off the presses at the U.S. Mint that was never supposed to exist. It looked like an ordinary Lincoln cent, copper-coated, familiar, forgotten. But deep in that tiny circle of metal was a mistake so rare, so shocking that when the truth came out, it shook the entire coin world. Picture it. Millions of pennies struck in 1988 at mints across the country, each one marked proudly with a tiny D for Denver or S for San Francisco. That mint mark is the fingerprint, the proof of origin. But somehow, a handful slipped through, missing that tiny, crucial mark. At first, no one noticed. These pennies slipped into cash registers, piggy banks, grocery store tills. People used them to buy bubblegum, dropped them on sidewalks, swept them into coin jars without a second thought. But years later, a collector spotted one and realized what the world had missed. One man's pocket change suddenly became a miracle worth nearly $1 million. His heart pounded as he stared at the coin. Lincoln's familiar face on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, but no mint mark at all. It was as if the coin had a secret hidden in plain sight. Whispers spread at coin shows. Dealers were shocked. No mint mark? On a 1988 cent? That can't be real. Yet it was. Verified. Certified. Locked into a slab by experts who knew they were holding something that had slipped past the mint's strictest controls. Suddenly, collectors everywhere began digging through their change jars, scanning every 1988 penny they could find. Some stayed up all night, flashlights in hand, searching coin rolls, hoping lightning would strike. Most are worth exactly 1 cent. But that rare variety, the 1988 no mint mark, can skyrocket in value. At auction, some examples have pushed into life-changing territory, with estimates soaring up to $1.5 million. You see, the missing mint mark isn't just a printing error. It's a signal of a mix-up at the mint itself, a rare blunder that slipped through when dies meant for 1 mint were used incorrectly, or when markings weren't punched in at all. This wasn't supposed to happen, and because of that, only a handful survived. Collectors call it the ghost coin. Ordinary people may have spent it, never realizing. A parent might have tossed it into a child's piggy bank in the 1990s. It could still be rattling in a jar in your kitchen. Right now, one dramatic auction saw bidding wars erupt as determined collectors drove the price sky high. The room was electric. Every paddle raised meant thousands more. When the hammer fell, a single cent, 1 penny, had transformed into a payday of dreams. Dealers were left stunned. Reporters called it a miracle of numismatics. And ordinary people watching from home began asking themselves, could I have one too? Because here's the part that gives every collector chills. This isn't a unique one-off coin. Multiple examples exist. They are out there, scattered, hidden, waiting. And unless you know what to look for, you could hold it in your hand and never realize. First, pick up every 1988 Lincoln penny you can find. Flip it over. On the front, look just below the date. That's where the mint mark should be. If you see a tiny D or S, it's ordinary. But if that space is blank, no mark at all, your heart should skip a beat. But be careful. There are common mistakes people make. Worn coins can fool the eye. Dirt or scratches might hide the mint mark. That's why magnification matters. Study it carefully. If it's truly blank, and the surfaces are sharp, you may be staring at the coin of a lifetime. Collectors spend lifetimes chasing treasures like this. Dealers are racing to get their hands on them. And yet the miracle could happen to anyone. To someone who never thought twice about the pennies in their drawer. So tonight, when you get home, dump out that change jar. Search every penny from 1988. Look closely, carefully, with new eyes. Because the difference between an ordinary cent and $1 million miracle is smaller than the head of a pin. And here's the truth that will haunt you. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It's a 2021 Lincoln cent. Something so ordinary, most of us have a few rattling in our pockets right now. But this one carried a tiny, nearly invisible secret. A detail so small, most people would toss it back into change without a second glance. And yet, that very detail turned a single cent into a life-changing fortune. Collectors were stunned when whispers first spread about this coin. Dealers rushed, desperate to confirm the truth. A penny from just 2021, carrying the rarest kind of mistake. The kind that turns ordinary pocket change into something beyond belief. One man, just like you or me, discovered the coin by chance. He wasn't a millionaire. He wasn't a museum curator. He was an ordinary collector, flipping through a handful of recent pennies. And then he froze, because staring back at him was something that shouldn't exist at all. Right below the date, where the mint mark should read D for Denver, the letters writ appeared, jagged, ghost-like, stamped into the metal by accident. Experts believe it was the result of a once-in-a-lifetime die clash, a bizarre minting anomaly where the coin press left behind a phantom engraving that slipped into circulation unnoticed. This tiny mistake was everything, because that four-letter anomaly, writ, is what made this penny unlike any other. And when it hit the auction block, the bidding war was ferocious. Collectors from around the country battled for ownership. The price shot past 6 figures. Then it climbed higher. And when the hammer finally fell, this penny had sold for nearly $1.2 million. But here's where it gets even stranger. Experts believe there may be more of these writ-marked 2021 pennies out there, hiding in plain sight. Some could already be sitting in old coin jars, grocery store tills, or even in the loose change you got from lunch today. Why? Because at a glance, it looks like a normal penny. The familiar Lincoln portrait, the copper tone, the year 2021 stamped clean and bold. Only when you bring it closer to the light, only when you inspect the mint mark below the date, does the truth reveal itself. Collectors describe the moment of discovery as electric. One man said his hands shook so badly he nearly dropped it. Another said he checked his coin a dozen times, convinced his eyes were playing tricks on him. Because no one expects a 2021 penny to be worth a fortune. And yet, this is the kind of rarity that can rewrite someone's life in an instant. But the story doesn't end here. Because what most people don't realize is that coins with minting mistakes like this don't just vanish into museums. They circulate. They hide in plain sight. They pass from hand to hand, quietly carrying fortunes. And every day that one goes unnoticed is another chance for someone like you to uncover it. So how do you know if you found one? Look at your 2021 pennies. Focus your eyes just below the date. Instead of the familiar D mint mark for Denver, you're hunting for something entirely different. The strange ghost letters writ, stamped into the coin in error. Some appear faint, almost like scratches. Others are bold, unmistakable. But be careful. Many collectors confuse scratches or damage for the real thing. What you're looking for is crisp, raised lettering, the kind of anomaly only the minting process could create. That's the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth over $1 million. Dealers are already on high alert, chasing every rumor, every lead, every faint photograph of a possible writ-marked cent. Because once one of these surfaces, the bidding wars explode. And the next coin to appear could break the current record. Imagine the feeling. You're holding a penny you thought was worthless, only to learn it could pay off your house, erase every debt, and change your life forever. That kind of discovery doesn't just happen in history books. It's happening now, in this generation, in 2021 pennies that most people ignore. And the truth is, this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost vanished into the shadows of pocket change, but when collectors finally uncovered its secret, it shook the entire coin world. A simple 1997 penny, hiding a mint mark mistake so rare. It has been valued at up to $1.7 million. How could something so small, so ordinary, become one of the most extraordinary treasures in American coin history? That's the mystery of the 1997 Writ D. Lincoln cent. Picture it. The late 1990s. Billions of pennies being struck in Denver. Most of them worthless beyond a cent. But somewhere in that flood of copper-plated zinc, a tiny error slipped through. A minting slip no one saw, no one caught, until years later. Instead of the crisp D mint mark expected from Denver, a distorted, almost scribbled mark appeared. Collectors whispered about it, describing it as a Writ D. First, nobody believed it. Could it just be damage? A flaw? But then, the proof emerged. One of these coins surfaced at auction. Experts pored over it, magnifying glasses in hand, jaws tightening as they realized what they were holding. This wasn't ordinary damage. This was a true mint error, a freak occurrence that transformed a single cent into a once-in-a-lifetime find. And when the hammer fell at auction, the crowd gasped. That coin sold for hundreds of thousands, and whispers grew louder. Another example had been discovered. The price climbed. The numbers grew bigger. And finally, one specimen reached a staggering estimate: $1.7 million. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. This coin, this million-dollar mistake, could still be hiding in circulation, in coffee shop tills, in forgotten jars of change, in the back of your dresser drawer. Because unlike rare gold coins locked away in vaults, this is a penny. Ordinary. Overlooked. That's why collectors are in a frenzy. Dealers are scanning every lot, every estate sale, every roll of pennies they can get their hands on. They're hoping, praying that they'll be the one to spot it next. And the story doesn't end there. One collector in the Midwest claims he almost spent his. He found the strange-looking penny in a pile of coins, thought it was damaged, and tossed it into a cup by the sink. Months later, by sheer chance, he looked again, and what he thought was worthless junk turned out to be worth $1 million. That single twist of fate changed his life forever. But what makes it so valuable? It comes down to the tiniest of details. The mint mark. On a normal 1997 Denver penny, you'll see a clean, sharp D just beneath the date. But on the Rit D variety, the D looks smeared, almost like it was dragged across the coin. Some describe it as doubled. Others say it looks like a crooked handwritten letter, and that unusual scar is the only reason it's worth a fortune. Most people miss it. Most people never even look. But those who know, those who take the time to check, can stumble onto the kind of discovery that coin collectors dream about for their entire lives. And here's the chilling truth: thousands of these may still be out there, sitting unrecognized, unloved, waiting for someone like you to spot them. That's why every pocket of change, every jar of pennies, suddenly feels like a treasure chest. Because one coin, just one, could change everything. Collectors are saying this is the new holy grail of modern pennies. Dealers are rushing to verify examples. And when one pops up at auction, the world watches, waiting to see how high the bidding will climb. Because every time it seems to go higher. So here's how you know if you've got the one. First, the date. It must be 1997. Next, the mint mark. It has to be from Denver, meaning the D under the year. But here's the difference. On the rare error, the D is not normal. It's warped, blurred, like a small scratch running through it. Some call it a ghostly outline, others a doubled impression. If your 1997 penny has a perfectly clean D, it's worth just a cent. But if it looks odd, if it looks wrong, you might be holding the miracle coin. And the final step? Always confirm with a professional coin dealer or grading service. Because this error is so rare, only true experts can tell you if what you've got is the life-changing treasure. Back in 2013, millions of ordinary Lincoln cents poured out of the U.S. Mint. Copper-coated zinc, common as the dust in your car's cup holder. But in the middle of that sea of sameness, a mistake happened. A rare, shocking, almost impossible error. One tiny detail was missing. A mint mark. That little letter, normally stamped beneath the date to show where the coin was born, was nowhere to be found. A blank, a ghost. And most people who saw it never looked twice. This wasn't just an everyday penny. This was a silent fortune hiding in plain sight. Dealers rushed to verify it. Auction houses whispered about it. And when one finally surfaced at sale, the coin world couldn't believe what happened next. Not every 2013 penny without a mint mark is the golden ticket. You see, Philadelphia-issued pennies normally don't carry a mint mark. That's standard. That's expected. The difference lies in a rare misstrike, an error coin, where the absence of the mark, combined with a specific die variety, created something one of a kind. Most people miss it, but experts know. And now, so will you. Because the secret isn't in the missing letter alone. It's in the tiny imperfections, the doubling in Lincoln's eye, the subtle spread in the inscriptions, the almost ghostly way the date and design shimmer under magnification. These are the signs. These are the clues that transform a 1-cent coin into a 7-figure legend. One man in the Midwest found his coin not in a dealer's case, not in a bankroll, but in loose change from a grocery store. He thought it looked odd. He tossed it aside. But something about that missing mint mark nagged at him. Days later, he checked again. And that single act of curiosity turned his life upside down. His odd penny went to auction and sold for nearly $1.6 million. Collectors still talk about it. The sheer disbelief, the drama in that auction room as the bids climbed higher and higher and higher. A penny that could have bought nothing more than a gumball, now worth more than a mansion. Coins like this are still out there, hiding in pockets, sitting in jars, waiting in dusty drawers where no one thinks to look. For every record-breaking discovery, there are dozens more waiting to be found, and you could be the one to find the next. First, the date, 2013. Nothing earlier, nothing later. Second, the mint mark. On a Denver penny, you should see a bold D below the year. On a San Francisco proof, an S. If that letter is missing, your heart should already be racing. But don't stop there. Examine the coin carefully. Under magnification, search for doubling on "In God We Trust," for unusual thickness in the date, for anomalies in Lincoln's eye or the reverse shield. These details separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Most mistakes are worth pennies. Some errors climb into the hundreds. But this one reached into the millions. And it happened because someone, somewhere, paid attention when everyone else ignored what was right in front of them. Dealers are still hunting. Collectors are still whispering. And the possibility remains that in a roll of change from your bank, or a forgotten jar of coins from your parents' attic, lies the next million-dollar treasure. So the next time you hold a penny, don't dismiss it. Don't toss it aside. Look closer, because hidden in your hands might be the coin that changes your life. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.